So thank you for joining us, everyone who's here today. My name is Emma. I am from GiftTrees. So I have the pleasure of working closely with our planting partners. So for International Day of Forests, we wanted to get Forest Focus, our main planting partner this year, to join us and give a bit more information about the details of how we're planting, how it actually works, and give everyone a better idea of how the trees are going in the ground. So I will hand over to Khalifa and David and Hilda from Forest Focus to introduce yourselves.
Thank you very much, Emma. Hi, everyone. My name is Khalifa Mganga. I am the Executive Director and Head of Planting of Forest Focus. I am responsible for overseeing all planting matters around here.
Okay, hi Emma and hi everyone. My name is David Cosmas. I'm the senior officer, but also an assistant executive director from Forest Focus. And my main responsibility to assist the executive director in assuming a lot of activity in the office. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Hello everyone, my name is Hilda and I'm the digital marketing executive from Forest Focus. I mostly deal with communicating what we do on our social media. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, I'll give the stage over to you, Khalifa, to give a bit more of an introduction to Forest Focus and how you came to set it up, and why it's so important what you're doing.
Thank you very much. Yes, Forest Focus is an NGO which was started 4 or 5 years ago, and the main aim is to assist the communities, to make the best they can do to earn living just by planting trees. And the reason why did we start Forest Focus was the fact that extreme poverty, especially in rural areas in Tanzania, has got a serious effect to deforestation and environmental destruction. So, of course, we grew in the same environment, so we could witness the rate of deforestation, the rate of unsustainable agricultural practices which are going on around or along the rivers and water sources and all these natural forests which need to be, retained. So with all that impact, then it came a time we decided to organize a certain number of youth, then trying to step inwards just to resolve the issue of poverty together with the issue of deforestation and environmental degradation. So we started like 5 years ago, and the aim is trying to combat poverty or fighting against extreme poverty while restoring and protecting the environment by planting trees. So right now we have a project named the Plant to Stop Poverty, and the project aims to plant at least 12 million trees by 2035, and 75% of the trees that we are trying to raise and plant, these are native trees which are all expected to be planted along the riverbank just to rescue the situation in these areas. Most of the riverbanks are very empty. They don't have trees. Most of the trees are slashed down just to provide enough land for agriculture. And also most of the forests, especially natural forests, these are also affected because people around here practice much of the illegal logging just to get some trees for firewood and timber that they sell to make living. So 75% of the trees we are trying to raise, these are native trees which are expected to restore all degraded land, starting from water sources to natural forests. 25% of the trees that we are raising, these are agroforestry trees which are expected to be planted in the farms. But these farms are expected to be diversified in a way that the community will get enough food and also will get some extra produce that they can sell to make a clean income rather than what is currently going on, especially with charcoal making and timber making, which are all proved to be destructive in most of the points. So at Forest Focus, we have a number of officers who are working here. We have 16 employees who are working in different areas, starting from agroforesters, foresters, agronomists, digital marketers, and etc. So we have like 16 of them who are contractually working in the office. However, the project itself extends to most of the villages, and there we have like 150 to 200 people who are employed in the plant to stop poverty. So the aim here is to help the community, as I said before, to realize the best they can do with the trees to earn living while protecting the environment and resolving issues relating to carbon sequestration, global climate change, decreased water levels, especially in rivers and other water sources.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Khalifa, for sharing this inspiring journey of how Forest Focus began. Let's now talk about how we actually plant trees and ensure they grow successfully. The first step in our process is identifying the right locations and engaging the community. So we start by understanding the history of the region, their water sources, the types of trees that naturally thrive there, and then we conduct survey to assess whether the same species can grow there, or if we need to introduce species that they can adapt well in that place. After that, we know that planting isn't just about land; it's about people, and this is where we involve the local community. We want them to be involved from the start. So we work closely with village authorities. We talk about them and collect information of how many people are there, and then we assess their needs and we assess how many trees can be planted in that specific area. Once we have this data, we now train the farmers and the villages so that they can actively participate in the process. After this process, we now start the planting process begins. This begins by collecting quality seeds from the local villages. We assign them to collect on behalf of us, of which we pay them per kilogram, which is like $5. After collecting the seeds from them, now we start filling the poly bags with different types of soil, with special soil like manure and sand and forest soil. After that, now we start to sow the seeds in our nursery. After doing that, the process of transplanting the seedlings, now the sampling now starts. We go to plant in those areas that we have selected. And this whole process involves a lot of people, people who are involved in the whole process of planting, people who are transporting, people who are loading and unloading the seedlings. So we have a lot of people getting involved in this whole process. But to ensure that there is sustainable growth, first of all, the trees we plant in the areas that they own. This makes them feel like they own the trees of which they own them, but they make them responsible. But apart from that, we have written documents. This written agreement, and we have representatives from different areas that we're planting that will be inspecting and timely updating us on the survival of those trees. And we also pay these people to do such a thing so that to ensure that all trees survive in the places that we have planted. And what impact so far have we achieved as Forest Focus? One of the biggest impacts that we have achieved is employment. We have more than 200 people working in our four nurseries that we have. And during planting season, we have a lot of the job employment increases because like two times. So we have like 400 people involved in the process because we have two people who will dig, people will transport the trees, people will be planting and all that. So this is our biggest impact that as Forest Focus we are proud of. But another thing is improved well-being. This means by, for instance, we have trees that are for short term, fruit trees like papaya, we have passion seedlings, passion trees, all these they grow within 6 months. So let's say this March we go plant these fruits in a certain area. It means by September they'll be having fruits to sell and they will having fruits to eat. Means they will generate income just within a short period of time. So this is another impact that we have made, improving well-being of people. But another thing is that people have stopped planting in water sources. We have been training them, and there have been rules of the government have been putting rules of how of limiting them to plant in the water sources. As we know, we need to preserve these water sources because water is everything. So yeah, this is the impact, just some few impacts that we've made so far as Forest Focus through planting trees. But our future vision is we want to look into local communities, people who can get formal employment. We want them to generate income just by planting trees. And also, we want to expand our tree planting benefits so that they can meet other needs that people have in the society. Because some other people, they don't get parents, they don't get money to take children to school, to buy some school supplies. But through planting trees, we want them to be able to take care of the children and have other basic needs. Yes, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for giving that overview. So I think we've got a couple of videos now that we can show of the community that you're working with. So if you want to introduce them, and then I can stick them up.
Okay, now we have some videos from the community stories. And the first video is of a farmer called Scholastica. She was able to grow over 1,000 papaya trees in her farm, and this has enabled her to get income and meet the basic needs of herself and her family. So please, let's watch her story.
Kwa majina naitwa Scholastica Antoni, ni mkulima na ni mkazi wa hapa Korogwe, na hapa ni shambani kwangu. Nimepanda miche yangu zaidi ya 1,000. Napenda kuwashukuru Forest Focus kwa kunipatia miche na kunipa elimu ya jinsi gani ya kuipanda na kuitunza. Kama unavyoona sasa, nilikuwa siwezi kupanda miche kama hivi, lakini wamenipa elimu ya kitaalamu zaidi, kupanda shimo hadi shimo. Kama unavyoona sasa hivi mapapai yangu imefikia stage na inakomaa, na ninauza, ninajipatia kipato kama vile cha kulipa watoto wangu ya shule na matumizi yangu kwa ujumla. Ninapenda kutoa shukrani zangu za dhati sana.
While working on that, so the second video is about a chairperson, a community leader in Bungu village, where he was talking about how people, the community is eager to get more trees. They're really interested in it, so they need a lot of trees to be planted in their areas. So this means we need to put much efforts because people are ready and they really love to get into planting trees.
Mimi ni Hamza Juma Shekifu, mwenyekiti wa kijiji cha Mpali. Nashukuru kwa shirika hili kutuletea miche, kwanza kutusaidia kutuwekea mazingira salama, kutuletea miti hii ya matunda. Halafu lingine kukweza kipato cha mwananchi mmoja mmoja, yani mkulima mmoja mmoja. Wananchi wanahitaji miche zaidi, hata kama ni 100,000 ifike kijijini kwangu, kwa sababu tayari kama mnavyoona katika picha hizo, wengine wanatamani kuja kwa wingi, lakini nashukuru kwa sababu mradi huu umefika kijiji hiki. Asante sana.
I hope everyone understood what the videos are about. Scholastica is a farmer who is one of our beneficiaries. She has been able to plant over 1,000 trees, papaya trees, and she's able to earn income. So we are really making an impact, and we should really keep making this impact. And from the local leader too.
So to kind of wrap up how you can get involved with GiftTrees, there's just a reminder, GiftTrees is partners with restaurants, and as a diner, if you go to any GiftTrees partner, when you pay your bill, you can opt to plant a tree for an additional 123 contribution. and we will plant a tree. If you plant that tree in 2025, it's highly likely that we'll plant it with Forest Focus. So now you understand more about how your trees have been planted. If you would like to learn more about Forest Focus and donate directly to what you guys are doing, then the website is at the top of the screen there. So you can have a look. Which wants to partner with us to offer this easily to your diners and get involved in this great work, then the best way to get in touch with us is at hello@gifttrees.com. So I think we got a bit of time for a Q&A. So one of the questions that we've got here is, what are the main challenges that you guys are facing with tree planting?
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. We all know that nothing that has got no challenge. So as Forest Focus, as we implement the project of Plan to Stop Poverty, we face some few challenges. I mentioned just a few of them. One of the biggest challenge is the climate change crisis, like just having a long dry season, but also the issue of drought and some other cases that's related with climate change. But we all try to mitigate them through having a proper tree planting plan, but also training these farmers and the community that we work with them, but also selecting some species that are more resilient to this climatic change crisis. But the another challenge that we face as Forest Focus in implementing our project is the issue of finance funding. We don't have enough fund because we have a large goal to serve the community, but also to protect the environment. But the issue is the issue of fund. But we are trying to make sure that we get a different source of funding. So thanks God for we have one of the good partners that is working with GiftTrees. They're donating us trees per month, so we are able to plant trees per month. Although it's not enough, we wish we could have a lot of funds so that we can reach more areas to plant and protect the environment. But also, another challenge that we face is the community that we are working with. The communities have very extreme poverty. So this make them to feel, and as we know, our project have already have impact on the community. So people wish to have more demand. They have a high demand of trees, just because they believe at the end of the day, as they see some people getting from the project, having a lot of income, employment. So they are so excited. So, and that is come that we don't have enough funds. So the demand is high because the community that you are working with are extremely poor. So we believe if we get enough funds, it will be good for us to reach what we want. So thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for that. Another question that we've got here. I know you mentioned, you talked about a little bit already, but how do you make sure or do your best to ensure that the trees that are planted are cared for long term and survive for years to come after your project is finished?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. Of course, sustainability in Plan to Stop Poverty is everything that we are trying to make sure that it happens. So the process starts with the selection of the best species. We normally plant trees which are compatible with the weathers and the soil that we need the forest to grow or the vegetation to be restored in these areas. So the second thing is educating people that they own the trees. So it's easier for them to take care for the trees by protecting them against the fires and any other accident that may kill or remove all the vegetation that we are actually trying to restore. So these are the key principles we normally adhere to make sure that the trees are growing to their maturity. Selection of this tree species, but also educating the community, the people in the villages, the people along the water sources or around the water sources, to know that these are their trees and the environment belongs to them. So it raises that sense of awareness to an extent that everyone feels like responsible of protecting all the trees that we are planting. Remember, these trees are producing much of their food, much of their trading items. So they feel the value of the trees. They feel that they need to protect the trees. They need to take care of the trees. And that's how we, for a number of years now, we've been able to have this higher survival rate, especially in most of the planting sites, including the planting sites that are, supported by the GiftTrees and their partners.
Yeah, thanks for that. I think that's probably really interesting for a lot of people, especially restaurants that's working with us. The third question I've got here is, what tree species do you focus on and why?
Yeah, thank you very much. As far as focus, we have few number of species that we focus on them, and we normally select them because of their benefits on the ecosystem, but also on the communities as well. So as Mr. Khalifa, our executive, have already explained that we have 75% of trees that are native trees that we normally plant them on to restore the degraded areas, but also 25% are agroforestry species. So we select them because they is adapting to our environment, but also they have high value to the saving the community, especially for issue of food and raising the income. So I will mention just a few of them for both agroforest and native trees. One of them is Carica papaya. We have Persea americana. We have Mangifera indica. We have Macamia lutea for issue of native trees. We have Kaya amphotheca. We have Trichia dregana and other species. So those are some of them.
Thanks. And how quickly do these trees usually produce fruits and nuts? Does it take a couple of years for communities to see the benefits from the production of the trees, or some I assume produce quicker than others?
Yeah. Okay. For the case of, let's say, Pasiflora edulis, which is passion fruit, as mentioned by David, these start produce their very first fruits in 6 months. The same with papaya, Carica papaya. These start producing their fruits in the first 6 months. And we include these in agroforest because they have this quicker impact. So then people or the farmers in the villages will have food at least in the next 6 months. They have food and they have enough fruits to trade to earn a clean income that they normally use to maybe pay for school fees and purchase, other necessary needs for their families. But once it comes to other larger trees like Mangifera indica, the mango tree that David has just mentioned, we normally apply some techniques. These are proven scientifically. We normally do what we call artificial. It's what we call artificial propagation, which includes budding and grafting. Why do we do this? Once we do grafting and budding for the larger trees like Mangifera indica or orange trees, this will take less than 24 months to start producing. And this is a very good advantage for the farmers because the normal Mangifera indica species would start bearing its first fruits in 7 to 10 years. So by applying the artificial propagation technique, farmers are having their first fruits in less than 24 months. So this is what generally happens in the farms. So we need like to have the long-term plan by having trees like the Mangifera indica or the cashew nuts or the orange trees. But again, we need to have quicker producing trees or plants like the Pasiflora edulis together with Carica papaya and also Musa species, which is banana. These produce really quickly, and so the community tends to have their food very easily produced and very quickly, just outside their houses, outside their homes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Kind of a variety of stuff. Got a question here about what types of educational programs you have going on. So you're running the training. What are the main sorts of topics that you're training people on, and how many people can you reach with the training?
Thank you very much. We are doing what we call forest gardening trainings. These are special trainings for modern agroforest. You know, most of the land around here is less productive compared to how it used to be productive in the past. Just like what David said in the early explanations, that we are having some acute, impact of this global warming and global climate change. So most of the land pieces here don't produce enough. So we need to train our farmers how to grow crops which are compatible with the current temperatures and the soil conditions, and also how to diversify their farms. For example, they need to know the proper way of including trees together with the other crops in the same farm. But again, they need to know optimal amount of moisture which is needed for the crops to grow well, not to be logged, not to be dry. So we also teach them about the best way to treat their soils. For example, we also help them to understand and practice the best way to make what we call compost, which is an organic form or kind of fertilizer, which when applied in the farm has a very positive impact to the crops, but also it's very safer compared to other farmers who are using pesticides and other industrial fertilizers. So once we meet them and we gather them, it's where we introduce them to what we call forest gardening training. And it's through this curriculum, we tell them how or what should they plant in their farms based on what kind of moisture is available and what type of soil, is available in the areas they stay. Because we also aim to connect them with uh, higher markets, then they will be selling these products at better prices. And so they will also resolve this problem of middlemen and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Final question, I think. Do you have a rough number of how many trees we've planted so far in this partnership?
Yeah, we have, ever since we started working with GiftTrees, we have planted more than 132,000 trees, which are fruit trees, which include those I've already mentioned, calica papaya, epaspholian dulles, and some spices trees that have high value in the marketing. So those are numbers that we've planted so far.
Nice. Yeah, well, thanks for your partnership so far. You've been really great to work with, and we're really happy working with you guys. And we hope to plant many more trees for the rest of the year and beyond. So yeah, thank you for thanks for your time. Oh, I've just got one more question here. Someone's asking, can you think of one inspiring story from a farmer that you've worked with that's benefited from the tree planting activities?
Yeah, we have a number of stories to share, though I don't think if time is enough, but I can maybe articulate one of the stories shared by, of course, one of the farmers who is in the video. She's widow. She doesn't have any support from anywhere apart from, depending on her farm, on her papaya farm. She's having a family. She's having like five children, and she's taking these children to school just with the income she makes with the papaya, the trees that she's harvesting from her farm. That means without the support from GiftTrees and partners, she wouldn't be able to get that income that she uses to take the children to school and also incur some household cost. And that is, I think, Jessica. Hilda, what is the name of that farmer?
Scholastica.
Scholastica, yes, that is
Scholastica, yes.
Scholastica. Yes, she's one of the happier women now around here because she's earning enough in terms of money and income that she's making by selling the papaya, but also she's having enough food again from the same farm she's planting the trees.
Thank you. Yeah, let me give it one more try, see if I can play the video, and if not, we'll have to share it separately.
Okay.
So that's not working for me. Is that playing? It's not playing for me, but you can see her face. So we'll share the video afterwards. It's a shame. I don't know, maybe it's because we have all of us in the studio rather than no one. Anyway. Cool. Well, we'll leave it there, I think. thank you so much for your time. Thanks for joining us for International Day of Forest, and thanks for your partnership and everything that you do with us. Keep up the great work, and thanks again.